I'm the Transpersonal Coaching Psychology Certificate Leader at Alef Trust, and I'm delighted to share this space with all of you, including the other two tutors on the program, Jules, who was already speaking to us. Jules, give us a little wave so we know who I'm referring to, and Henny. There's Henny, and we are the three tutors on the program. And this evening, we're here to answer your questions. Because we hope that you already have some insight into what this program is about. So we're not going to be talking about the details of the program. However, we're happy to answer any questions you might have in regard to that. So how about us three tutors introduce ourselves briefly, and then what I'd like to do is offer us a few words to enter into a shared field of open awareness together, the way we do at the outset of any webinar, sharing circle, or online gathering throughout the program. And then once that's done, I'd love to offer the opportunity to one student who's here with us this evening, Patricia. Hello, thanks for being here. And one graduate who's joining us this evening. Hello, Chris Tate, good to see you. And they might be willing to share a few words about their experience of the program. So before we get going, Javon Dangley, that's how you pronounce my name. I speak to you with my feet on the ground in Switzerland, which is where I reside, although I'm born and raised in South Africa. And transpersonal psychology and coaching have been part of my personal and professional endeavor for well over 20 years. So I'm absolutely passionate and in love with this particular program, but because of what we do together as we explore the different ways in which we can add value to people's lives and expand our own consciousness in that process. So I'd be happy to say more about that and my involvement if there are any questions, but for now I'd like to hand over to Jules.
Thank you, Javon. And I just want to say welcome again to everyone. It's really a pleasure to share this call with you. And yes, my name is Jules, as Javon has already shared with you, and I'm living in London. I've been working as a coach for quite some years now, and I specialize in supporting highly sensitive people. And so I feel so passionate about transpersonal coaching in this course because I feel it's such a diverse and holistic way of working with people. And I'd be happy to share more about my practice as time goes on, but I find it's such a versatile way of working and you can really apply it into so many different contexts. So as an example, for the past 10 months, I was also working in Portugal at a holistic mindfulness retreat center where I was offering transpersonal coaching. So yeah, as we go through this evening, this open house today, it'd be great to share more with you about the different ways that you can apply transpersonal coaching into various contexts. And I know a lot of you will probably be coming to this course with previous experience. Some of you may be already coaching or offering therapy or counseling, working as educators, leaders. And again, I think the great thing about transpersonal coaching is it's not about getting rid of your previous experience or learning. It's about bringing that into the course and adding to that and learning from each other as well. So the course is really a practical way of collaborating and finding ways to apply it into, as I keep saying, a real life context. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to answering any of your questions today. And I'm going to hand over to Henny now.
Thank you, Jules. It's lovely to be here. See all your faces. My name is Henny. I'm one of the three tutors. I join you from South Africa. That's where I live. It's summer here. It's a beautiful, warm evening outside. I love transpersonal coaching, and I absolutely believe in it. I have a huge passion for what we do. I'm a medical doctor by background, I'm also a clinical researcher, and so I am particularly interested in the embodied practices through coaching and what that might mean for the psychosomatic, as an example. Also, because of my research background, I like to apply the science. So transpersonal coaching is as much an art as it is a science. It's a helping profession, but it doesn't mean that what we do isn't based in sound reasoning, applied research. And so we think very deeply about what we do in the best service of our clients. I've been on a journey for many years, and I hope to share the rest of my journey with many of you.
Thank you, Henny and Jules. So I hope you're starting to feel like dipping your toes in the water, because the field of transpersonal coaching is all about experience, theory, knowledge, having research to back up our ideas is all very important. But as Henny has begun to highlight, it's about getting it in the muscle, getting it in the body, feeling what it's like to have an expanded state of consciousness. And from that unique state and perspective, explore challenges in life. And from that state and perspective, which we refer to as open awareness, derive more creativity, inspiration, and resourcefulness, so that this can then be channeled into those challenging situations. So we work with individuals, we work with groups, we work across contexts. Transpersonal coaching can be applied just as much in the context of life coaching as it can be in the boardroom. And many of our students are new to the field. They've never done any kind of helping profession training before. And this is how they're entering, and we welcome that. And many of the students are already helping professionals or medical professionals. And they're coming along to learn our transpersonal specialization, which is all about tapping into and integrating expanded states of consciousness to solve challenges and to bring creativity to all our pursuits in life. And I think, moreover, to be a beacon of light in these dark times in which we are, so that we might be able to make a contribution to the betterment of humanity and to the betterment of all living beings on the planet. That is, in fact, my overarching motivation for doing this work. And it's wonderful to observe that happening every day. But still, perhaps we're just a small drop in the ocean. Nevertheless, let's dip our toes into the water of that ocean, the way we start all our webinars, sharing circles, and online gatherings, which is through taking a few moments to take a few breaths together, if you don't mind. So at this point, I'd like to invite you to make yourself perfectly comfortable in the seat where you find your body resting at this moment. And find yourself resting comfortably with an upright back. Sensing how gravity is affecting the physical experience of yourself at this moment. Feeling the weightedness of your bones and your flesh, being supported by the seat and the surface that holds you up at this moment. And if you're comfortable, you may close your eyes at this time. And if you prefer, you can leave them open with a soft gaze resting gently upon your screen. And I'd like to invite us all to find the breath by feeling into the sensation of in-breaths and out-breaths as they come and go. And as you tune your awareness into the sensation of your inhalation and exhalations, you might still want to adjust your posture to find your comfortable position. Tuning into the needs of your body at this time, stretching and loosening if you like, and bringing awareness back into your center there, feeling the breath. And as you notice the fullness of each breath in and out, I'd like to invite us all now to shift attention toward the entire volume of space that your whole body occupies. Shifting your attention toward the entire volume of space that your whole body occupies. And notice as you do this, you might withdraw attention from what it was previously occupied with and start to notice the fullness of the space in which you find your physical self at this moment. Enveloping yourself in a field of awareness. A cocooning membrane that encapsulates your body in a soft, compassionate embrace. Holding yourself lightly. Feeling the breath, noticing the body, and at the same time allowing awareness to fill the space in which you are. Extending awareness in all directions and fully occupying the space in which you find yourself at this time. Occupying the space with your presence, in which you experience the body, the mind, emotions, and whatever else is present in your environment. And in this extended space of open awareness, if your eyes were closed, you might allow them to open gently, maintaining this state in which you are. And in this perhaps expanded sense of self, we can look around the room and see who's here. And it's not just a flat screen. We can gaze around the room, notice the names. Notice that these are other bodies sharing the space with you today. And we're all in this together. So thank you for joining in on this little experiential process to come into the shared field together, and in this way to begin to co-create the collective space that we are. And this is an example of how we might begin a session with a client, to make a connection, to attune with the client before we do anything else. It's a common starting point in the transpersonal coaching process. And it's very easy when you're working with a single client because we can really attend to their needs and their process as it unfolds. With a larger group, it's a little bit more complex and tricky because not everybody's sharing cameras and it's not as simple to attune to everybody, but the intent is there. So I hope that you're feeling a little bit warmed up and ready to dive into discussion today. So at this point, I'd love to invite both Patricia and Chris, whoever feels like speaking first. Patricia, speaking from the perspective of a currently enrolled student on the TCP program, and Chris as a graduate. If you don't mind, whoever feels like speaking first. Chris, I can see you've unmuted.
Hi
Tell us
there.
about your experience. Thank you, Chris.
Can everyone hear me?
Loud and clear.
All good. Yeah, thanks for inviting me to speak today, Jevon. It's a privilege. I know. Yeah, I might be able to say a little bit about my experience on the transpersonal coaching course. I've written a few notes here, so I might rely on those a little bit. But something I would say perhaps to people who are just starting out in, as Jevon referred to earlier, the helping professions. I think somebody else said that too. That was my experience coming into the transpersonal coaching course. Never done anything like that before. And I just wanted to say a little something to those people about, perhaps about readiness. I was not, I was definitely not ready to do the course. I was in a difficult situation in my life, experiencing a burnout crisis in my work. What I would say about my experience was that being on the course helped me through that experience. And also, you know, if any of you are thinking, "Oh, I'm not ready to move into a helping profession because I have this issue, that issue, I'm dealing with this at the moment." My experience was this wasn't a problem. In fact, those issues that you might come to the course with, personal issues, maybe even a crisis, are the things that are going to inform both your experience on the course and your capacity as a coach when you move into coaching at the end of the course. So I just wanted to say that little thing, in case people are pausing, you know, in case you're thinking, "Oh, how can I help people? I'm a mess," or, you know, these things are, this is the stuff that informs our capacity when we're coaches, and it will inform all your experiences during the transpersonal coaching course. I could go on, maybe I'll pick up another point. Yeah, I'll just have a look at my notes to see if there's anything else. I would say also that it is a group effort on the coaching course. It's a group experience, and I was somebody coming in who was perhaps a little bit of an insular person. The experience of being on a course like this is a wonderful thing. You're going to be meeting lots of people. You're going to be encouraged to be in a community. And that was a wonderful thing for me to experience. And I would urge people to rely on that community too, to rely on your peers, both during the course and beyond the course. I'm still in touch with people who I met on the course, and we still have a WhatsApp group, and we share our experiences of coaching and share, you know. So it's not just you signing up to do this. This is a group effort, and you'll feel that. I think. What else can I say? Yeah. From a personal perspective, you might need to be, if you're an insular type of person, perhaps you're a bit sensitive, perhaps a bit anxious, I'd encourage those people to be gregarious. You'll reap the rewards for that. You will. Reach out to people if you need help. You know. We're not, you know, in some sense, we're being coached as we're learning to become coaches. So by each other, and that actually happens on the course. You have peer-to-peer coaching, and that's just an invaluable experience, really. What else can I say? Maybe a deeper point. I think sometimes people find it very difficult to describe what transpersonal coaching is, or even the transpersonal. So I'll give a bit of my perspective. Jevon was talking there about some of the open awareness techniques that are involved, and I would say, we talk a lot about space in the transpersonal field, and I was thinking, as Jevon was guiding us into open awareness there, and talking about stepping into that space, and there's something, a word that's come up for me at the moment is the word guardianship of that space. And I think that kind of is encapsulating coaching for me at the moment. And there's something about the fact that we can be guardians of that space. It doesn't have this heavy intervention feeling. It's not a dominating feeling, but it's like a tending to and a caring for that space. A bit like we might think of being a gardener or something like that. And I hope if you join the course, you'll get to experience that feeling and explore that some more for yourself and what that means to you.
Chris, thank you so much for sharing your experience of the program. It's the first time I hear this term "guardian of the space" being used. I love it, Chris.
Great.
That's really great. Thank you for inspiring me in that way. And this is one of the things I absolutely love about this work is that we all take so much inspiration from each other. And as you've rightly put, Chris, it's not a top-down type program. The tutors and all the other staff at Alef Trust, who are your guardians on this journey, are there to hold the space and to co-create the space with everyone. It's a collaborative learning journey, and we interact via meetings such as this, similar to Zoom, but we also interact via text in forums, and there's different social media groups and so on that students join, and there are opportunities for live interactions quite consistently throughout the program. So we do aspire to, and I think we do somewhat achieve in taking the distance out of distance learning. So I'm starting to see some questions showing up in the chat window here, and I'm very glad to turn attention toward those, but I wouldn't want to lose the opportunity to hear from Patricia before we start to address these questions in the chat window. Patricia, you're a student on the course right now.
I am.
Tell us about it.
Hello, lovely to meet everyone, and thanks for the opportunity to share a little bit about my journey so far. I think we're 10 months in, and I come from a very different background in design and been a creative director for 20 years and come from the corporate world and kind of decided to leave that behind to find more meaningful work. And I wanted to be in service. I'm now going to use that new term I heard, the helping professional. So that's kind of what I was going for. And I knew I wanted to create transformational experiences for people, but I didn't quite know how that would look or how I would get there. And I came across this program, and in a meandering way. And, fast forward 10 months, I'm really quite confident to say that I now know how to hold space and how to facilitate meaningful shifts in people. And that is something I'm incredibly grateful for, that I'm able to do that now and do it in a way that it's a really gentle but deep way. And somebody mentioned kind of co-creation, I think in context of the tutors and the students and peers in the group, but similarly, it's a co-creative process with the client as well. So it's kind of like, it's almost kind of fractal, whichever way constellation you look at it, it's always kind of the shared kind of co-creative process. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm enjoying the program, and I'm also enjoying the client sessions that I've had so far. And there's a lot of content, and it's very hands-on, which is something I was hoping for. And yeah, there's a lot more still to kind of fine-tune, I'm sure, with experience, but I feel after 10 months I already have what I came for. And there's a lot of support throughout, from the 3 tutors you're seeing here, meeting here today, and also, like Chris was saying, from your fellow peers. And we set up various groups where we meet regularly, as small groups or bigger groups, however, different constellations. There's a wellness support, and yeah, all sorts. You get the personal support that you need for projects you're working on, or even in your personal life. There's actually even a blending between your own personal life that you're kind of your own practice that you're doing, which I didn't really have so regularly before, and now I do, and that's really another really amazing added bonus. That it's a journey for me, at least. It's very much been a journey, a personal journey, not just of learning new skills and a new trade, but just as a personal development almost, or learning how to work with my own kind of challenges and triggers and things, not, the same way that I'm learning how to do that with clients. I think that was kind of mainly what I wanted to cover.
Thank you so much, Pushpit. I really appreciate that. And I'm touched that you are getting so much value from this program. And yes, we often remind students on this course that it's about what you bring to it. So we encourage people to bring themselves completely to the program, regardless of your background, previous experience or not, and to dive right in. So we teach you all about how transpersonal coaching works, the theory, the concepts, the practice, the methods, techniques, and so forth in the first module, which runs between February and June. Then in the second module, between June and September, you engage in an integrative practice of your own design, for which we provide guidance. And concurrent with that, the peer-to-peer coaching. So while you're engaging in your own practice on a daily basis, expanding your ways of experiencing yourself and your life and reality, as challenges arise, and they invariably do, you've got the peer coaching support to lean into. And as that, there's also the opportunity to practice the new coaching skills that you spent the entire Module 1 studying. While that's all going on, there are these 2 weekly webinars and sharing circles and well-being sessions and academic skills sessions, and then those which are more related to the TCP learning journey continue, as well as other guest webinars with experts in the field coming to speak to us beyond the coaching profession. experts in the broader field of transpersonal psychology, to which the TCP students, transpersonal coaching psychology students, which you might become, are invited. There are widening perspective webinars that are currently what students are also invited to attend. So all in all, they're almost weekly live interaction possibilities. Now, I saw a question in the chat window, and I don't know if one of the others have replied to this in text, but to what extent are we accommodating different time zones? Because our students do come from around the world. And we take that into account in the program design. And since Alef Trust is UK based, everything is listed according to UK time. And so of these webinars that I've just introduced you to, and these sharing circles and all the different names we give these different online gatherings, they typically take place first at 10 a.m. UK time, 10 in the morning. And then a week or so later, there'll be another session at 1 o'clock in the afternoon UK time. And then a week or so later, there'll be another session at 7 in the evening UK time. And those are our core TCP installments. And then alongside that, in various times of the day, there are all these other sessions, most of which are optional. It will be made perfectly clear which are the required sessions and which are the optional sessions, so which are directly related to developing your transpersonal coaching competency and which are more general in the broader field of transpersonal psychology. So all of that is going on, and all those sessions are recorded. If you cannot attend live, the recording is available to you for the entire duration of the program. So there is that. At this point, I'm going to hand over to any other tutor that wants to jump in. Perhaps you've identified a question that you want to address verbally or not, in which case I'll just keep talking. Let me know.
Yeah, Javan, I can speak to one of the questions. There was a question about what support do you have for setting up as a coach. And I just wanted to mention that towards the end of the course, we do have a webinar where I speak about authentic and conscious marketing and how you can set up your practice as a coach. And so I cover things like how to clarify your niche or niche, how to identify your mission, your vision, your purpose, and talking about this concept of storytelling rather than selling. So I know that for many coaches, the thought of marketing or putting yourself out there can feel quite daunting. And I know it is a big part of the practice as well. So just know that you do have support with that, and I'm available to offer my expertise with that. So when the course finishes too, you're not left alone. It's not that the course finishes and it's over. And Javan, you might want to speak to this, because you are then accredited by IACTM, and there are opportunities to be part of the directory and ongoing support after the course. So Javan, I might pass over to you to speak to that.
Sure. Thanks, Jules. Yes, indeed. So the course is dedicated to personal development, transpersonal growth, and so forth, as well as to developing the skills for you to be confident and competent as a coach, whether you have come to the course with an existing background in one particular coaching area, or perhaps a therapeutic background, or no background, as Chris has courageously admitted, as is common for this course. Everyone leaves the course with a sense of readiness. Another word Chris used that I'm totally in love with: readiness to go and do this work, and perhaps even a sense of calling, because you recognize that this stuff works. And then we have these post-course opportunities available to you. So we have an ongoing supervision group. We meet every month. There's at least one live session per month for those that want to do this work, to continue being in contact and networking opportunities with peers and those who have done this program before. as well as continued professional development. We run ongoing learning webinars in those sessions, and we have experts in the field come and speak to us in the format of fireside conversations, where we address all sorts of topics such as coaching with archetypes, trauma-informed coaching, working with the psychosomatic, working with parapsychological phenomena as they occur in coaching, and similar areas of interest that are related to transpersonal coaching. So all of this goes on during the program and after the program. And then, of course, as Jules mentioned, the opportunity to become accredited after this program is also available to you. Our transpersonal coaching psychology certification criteria are directly aligned with the coach accreditation criteria set by the International Association of Coaches, Therapists, and Mentors, meaning that as soon as you end this course, you are fully eligible for your coach accreditation. So good to go. I'm going to hand over to anybody else. I'm seeing a lot of activity in the chat window, which is fantastic, but be courageous, as Chris has encouraged. Mute and ask your questions so that you can have that addressed in real time, because by this stage I'm sure some questions are getting lost in this busy chat window here.
Giovanna, if I may, I'm going to try and answer a couple of the questions in one go. How's that for being brave? But a lot of the questions have to do with, I suppose, different ways of coaching. For example, some of you are asking, would this work with groups or only with individual clients? Some of you are considering how it would work in a business environment, for example, or is it only in a therapeutic sense? So the easy answer to all of that is yes, all of the above. I do think that our approach is very versatile, and I think it can be adapted and very useful for any setting. Can be very useful working with individual clients, can be very useful working in a business sense. We've had a number of students on our courses over the last years. It's a very pertinent topic. How can we bring this philosophy into a sort of a more hardcore environment like the business corporate environment? And a lot of our students have had lots of success with that. We've even had some of our graduates who have specialized in areas like sport, for example, sports coaching. And so I do think that it's very versatile, both for individuals and within groups. The other characteristic of our approach, our transpersonal coaching psychology approach, is that, yes, we have our core set of skills, but we don't exclude any particular skill, any particular discipline. And so if you have some existing skills, or you have an existing interest or some expertise, bring that along. We don't deny it. We help you to integrate that into the coaching paradigm. So everything that you have done up until now counts, and it counts a lot. So I hope that addresses some questions. I'll try and answer some of the others as we go along.
Thanks, Henny. Yeah, indeed. I work with individual clients on a regular basis, as well as with groups, both online and in person. I use exactly the same models and frameworks in all of those settings. They just get adapted to the client's needs, whether that's an individual or a group. And that's one of the things you'll discover at this program, that at the very core of our transpersonal coaching model is the practice of holding space, being an embodied witness, and co-creating that held space with the client. And it's in the process of facilitating that deep rapport and attunement with the client that a lot of the challenges which clients typically bring to coaching are already, they begin to become resolved, because that quality of relationship that we emphasize as fundamental in our transpersonal coaching approach is really at the essence of our model. So we highlight that this, which I refer to as open awareness, often suffices, as sufficient intervention. And it's not an intervention at all. It's just deep relating, deep empathy and compassion with the client, and transcending our ordinary ways in which we perceive ourselves and each other through the embodiment of open awareness, which in and of itself facilitates creative levels of consciousness, and that brings forth resources and ideas into challenging contexts that we might ordinarily never have thought about. And then, if that quality of open awareness is not enough to resolve a complex challenge, perhaps there's trauma. And as you're holding space for the client recognizes the magnitude of the issue, and perhaps from deep in the unconscious, they become aware of a traumatic root cause. Now, dealing with trauma is typically a therapeutic endeavor, and it's none that most coaches are trained to handle. However, at our course, you're going to learn to hold space for any and all types of phenomena that may occur in coaching, whether you're working with an individual or a group. And you're going to get plenty of training and practice at how to hold space, even when that space becomes quite sticky with such phenomena. And in that quality of holding, the clients are enabled to be with the symptoms and states that they're currently experiencing, as opposed to suppressing them further or having various coping mechanisms activated or projecting, and all the types of ways in which people unconsciously react to traumatic symptoms as they affect us in our day-to-day lives. Now, if we look around in the world today, I think there's no denying that we're living in a traumatizing system and traumatizing society. And so we hold that trauma is almost always going to be a factor in coaching, no matter what type of coaching you're doing. And therefore, all practitioners, coaches, therapists, counselors, managers, leaders, parents, anybody in the world today, I think, can benefit from being trauma informed, being trauma sensitive, and approaching life, and especially coaching work, in a trauma integrative manner. And our transpersonal coaching model is very much about that. So I can get into those details much more so because I think they're important and I'm very passionate about them, but I'm just going to leave that on the shelf for now. And if there are any other follow-up questions, I'm very happy to address those. I'm handing over to any other tutor who's picked up a question in the time being.
Jevon, I like to throw out, several people have asked the question, and it could come from you or anyone else in the team, to help differentiate the coaching certificate from the MSc. What makes the coaching certificate stand apart?
Thanks for that, Nick. Yes, there's one very definite distinguishing factor between the Transpersonal Coaching Certificate Program and the MSc at Alef Trust, that being that the coaching program is all about the applied domain. This is training for practitioners. It's a far less academic rigor than the MSc. So you're not required to do all the research and to write in such academic ways and to explore the theories at the same level of depth as the MSc students are. The MSc program is not about equipping you to be a practitioner in the field. You will be doing research. There is a module in the second year of the MSc called Applied Transformative Psychology, where you explore applications of transpersonal psychology, including a light touch of transpersonal coaching and counseling and so on. But that's just one module. And those engagements in the applied domain are from a more theoretic angle in any case. You're not being trained to go out into the field to do this work in any kind of helping profession, let alone coaching or therapy. Whereas the coaching course is exclusively about that. Yeah, much less theory, much more practice, equipping you to be a competent coach by the end of it. The MSc will equip you to have a broad and deep knowledge of transpersonal psychology, which can be channeled into your own area of interest and can be continued onto one of Alef Trust's PhD programs. So there's that option for the MSc students. So I think I've begun to answer that. I can go into more depth if there's a follow-up question. Wadi, I'm seeing your, and please help me to pronounce your name correctly.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult for you, Devin, because Javin, because it's a and it's a letter that it's an articulation that you don't have in except Arabic languages. I'm Lebanese, by the way, from Lebanon. So
we currently have a Lebanese student on our program. I think he's enjoying it thoroughly. I'd be glad to connect you with him.
Oh yeah, lovely. Actually, my question is, because I have done a training with psychedelics and expanded states of consciousness, and
Yeah.
I'm very curious to know how can this course and this program help me in my practice in preparing, conducting, accompanying, and in the end, maybe integrating the expanded states of consciousness or the psychedelics experience per se, the ceremony itself. Thank you. I'm going to mute myself.
Thank you very much for your question. It's very pertinent. I would say almost half of the students attracted to do this program come because they've learned or discovered somewhere along the lines that transpersonal coaching, our particular model, a model that we teach and emphasize, has been identified to be very useful in a practical way to help people ahead of going on a psychedelic ceremony or retreat to prepare themselves for that. So to set a clear intention, to clear their psychological and transpersonal space, and to be able to maintain a somatic awareness should the psychedelic encounter become a robust one. They feel confident in their ability to remain present in the body. So that's in service to preparation before going on the psychedelic experience. As a psychedelic practitioner, I would say that preparation is essential. You mentioned conducting. Well, the conducting of the psychedelic experience in a ceremonial or retreat setting is entirely up to the training you've done in that area. We do not train you to conduct anything with psychedelics on this program. But after the psychedelic encounter, supporting the clients in integrating and making sense of and embodying the experience that they had during the ceremony or at retreat is again where our model is exceptionally useful. So helping them to be able to process that experience in the state of open awareness so that they can still tap into it and relate to it. It's like remembering a dream. When you wake up too suddenly and you just carry on with your day, the dream drifts out of conscious awareness and is no longer meaningful or useful to us. But if you've got the skill to put yourself back into the dream state so that you can more intimately connect with the phenomena and the symbology and the feelings associated with all of that, as we do when we apply open awareness, then you're able to, through the support of an empathic listener and the transpersonal skills available to them, bring that out of retreat, out of the psychedelic experience, off the meditation mat, off the yoga mat, and into everyday life. And I added in the extra piece of meditation and yoga because similar questions have been asked that do not relate to psychedelic experiences, but to spiritual awakening experiences that might occur in meditation retreats or spontaneously or in other ways in people's lives. So the integration of spiritual awakening experiences, we work in exactly the same way with those clients as we do with those returning from psychedelic retreats and ceremonies in terms of integration. Has that begun to answer your question? Do you have a follow-up there?
Yeah, I do. I do have a follow-up question to this. So basically, it also brings in the psychological aspect, not just the spiritual aspect, because most integrations now focus a lot on the somatic and the spiritual aspects of a psychedelic journey. But I have found very few people that focus on the psychological aspect as well, which, in my opinion, by the way, I'm a CBT practitioner as well. I come from a background of marketing and communication, and I did a CBT training. So, in my opinion, the psychological experience is diminished in importance after a psychedelics journey as compared to the spiritual and to the somatic parts. That's what I've been noticing lately. Lots of integration coaches are focusing on spiritual and somatic, but very few are paying a lot of attention to the psychological outcome of this journey. So if I understand correctly, this course also focuses as much on the psychological aspect of that.
Yes, it's my short answer. And the way in which we would do that is, first of all, through informing ourselves about the potential psychological challenges that may arise post-psychedelic experience. But at the same time, we're careful it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. We're going to listen closely and help the client to understand what their needs are, what shadow aspect of the psyche maybe has become activated that is now an issue for them, but it wasn't before the psychedelic experience. So how can they process and integrate the aspects of the psyche that surface as a consequence, as an example of psychological support? So this is not a clinical psychology course, but you're going to have a well-rounded introduction to the psychological theories and concepts that inform our transpersonal coaching model, so that we can meet the client where they're at and serve them in their integration in whichever way is going to be best suited. So we don't only focus on the somatic or the psychological or the spiritual, but we attend to all of them concurrently in a holistic and integrative way. You're welcome. Kat, you've had your hand up for a while. What's your question?
Hello there. Just a comment, really. I just wanted to say how absolutely excited I am about this certificate, as it will really give me a year to totally focus on myself and to engage with my own experiences in order to help others before undertaking the more theory-based MSc, which I see as just will then build on the practical coaching element. So yeah, so thank you for tonight. Great.
Well, thank you for your comment. Yes, if you're in a position to do both the certificate and the MSc, well, you're signing up for something really profound and wonderful. So good for you. Kobe, over to you.
Yes, hi, thank you. So I guess one of the questions that I'm hearing that some other questions have been floating around my mind or being addressed in the responses. And so so one of the things around like say the application of this coaching certificate with working with people who also sit with psychedelics. So it sounds like it's inclusive in terms of the broader sense of transpersonal experiences or extraordinary human experiences, whereas that the certificate in psychedelic studies or whatever is very specific to psychedelics. And it seems, correct me if I'm wrong, that one of the major differences is that that this prepares participants to be coaches, and the certificate in psychedelics does not. Am I correct with that?
You are very correct with that. So this is a vocational certificate program, whereas the psychedelics program is not. Now, I cannot speak for the content or anything of when it comes to the psychedelics program, because I'm not informed about that. But it is interesting that there have been students who complete the psychedelics certificate program and then come on to do this one, because they have come across through their we do cross-pollinate on the program. So there are various webinars and so on that both psychedelic certificate students and the transpersonal coaching certificate students join in on. But I suppose it becomes known that we are training practitioners to actually go into the field and do this work. And I think that might be less the case on the psychedelics course, where those are already psychedelic practitioners who want to deepen their knowledge of what's going on in the field of research in this psychedelic renaissance in which we find ourselves these days. So that's why in my earlier comment, I said, we are not training you to be practitioners in the actual administration of the psychedelic experience, but in psychedelic preparation and integration. That's where we as transpersonal coaches have a lot of value to add. Kobe, has that answered your question?
Thank you. That's great. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Martin.
Hello, hi, good evening all.
Good evening.
So I'm a Gestalt psychotherapist, and I can see how it really dovetails well with that modality. My other interest is also personal construct therapy, and I'm curious, would you see transpersonal coaching more or less working alongside with PCP, please, using schema and dichotomies, etc., while still being within a holistic framework of analysis and approach?
So thank you for that great question. Now, over the years, we've had many people with various therapeutic and counseling backgrounds come on to do this course. And we emphasize that what you're learning on this course is not going to replace anything that you're currently doing in your professional work, but may in fact enhance that, so that we are more versatile and flexible in the approach with clients. So as Henny pointed out earlier on, we invite all ideas and theories and practice experiences into our shared dialogues in the room. And our hope and our experience is that we evolve methodology together, so that your current practice and experience informs ours and ours informs yours, and together we co-create something completely novel. And whatever then emerges in this shared space is then explored in terms of practice. How might you pull those ideas back into your applied domain in the therapeutic interventions that you use with your clients, so that you can maintain the integrity of what you are trained in and what your professional title is, but also have the versatility at hand to draw on transpersonal coaching concepts and methods and models as that is necessary, spontaneously with your own clients. Is that helpful, Martin?
Definitely. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for your question. Theodora, hello.
Hello, thank you so much for hosting this open house. I'm currently in the Alef Trust Psychedelics program, and it's been really just amazing to have that conscious space built in to pursue my passion and deepening curiosity. And now I'm interested in doing the transpersonal element just because I work in the field of legal psilocybin retreats, and I've realized a little bit of my own gaps in knowledge in the integration process. And the question that comes up for me is the framework that you guys create as a community for actually reaching people is something I'm curious to know more about, because while I have my master's in neuroscience, I'm doing the program, I'm IFS trained, it is a little bit of a difficulty to market, and it comes down to how do you get connected to the people who want to do the work, who have the resources, and who are looking for this sort of coaching. So how do you go about creating that support as part of the community?
A great question. This is your area of expertise. Do you have a response ready to go? Otherwise, I'm willing to.
I actually don't. I'm sorry. I was a bit distracted because I've been keeping an eye on the chat, trying to respond to people's messages. So, Jovan, I don't know if you want to respond, and Stefan, I can add.
All right. So, in the third module of the program, when you're engaging in pro bono coaching to log the required 50 hours of coaching experience that is part of this curriculum, you're going to meet many clients. And we help you to find those clients. Many of them are, in fact, the MSc students at Alef Trust, who are very happy on their MSc journey to receive free coaching from the certificate program students, which you might become. And these are people who are already engaged in transpersonal research and practice. They already speak this language. So they're fun clients to have because we don't have to introduce our transpersonal concepts to them. We just get down to the work. But in addition to that, you'll also be encouraged to start to reach out to other potential clients that you might like to practice your skills with. So that's already going on within the program. And then, as Jules mentioned earlier, Jules gives a workshop in the third module on building your transpersonal coaching practice and how to go about authentically marketing that, so that when you finish this course, you know who your niche is, who you want to be working with, what your ideal client profile is. And with that, we provide you with the resources to establish your coaching business. And then, like I mentioned earlier, after the program, you are welcome and even encouraged to obtain the accreditation that you'll be fully eligible for. And the accreditation body provide loads of resources, and they actually do the marketing for you to get your work out there, to establish yourself. And then there is the supervision group that we look after, in which you come together with students who have completed this course over the years. And there's networking opportunities. In addition to the continued professional development and the supervision that we offer, there's the networking and shared resourcing going on over there. And then people also talk about, and the resources available to you are all about websites and how to get your word out there in the most effective way and so on. So that there is continued support in that way. It's sounding a bit repetitive to me anyway at this stage. Have I answered that question? Is there a follow-up?
Definitely. Thank you so much. I think that's been one of the things that I'm really wanting to lean forward into is because as the focus of these programs is learning and developing and space holding, there's not a huge emphasis on how do we work with the monetary aspect, with the marketing, and so like there's a huge benefit to being part of a community that kind of creates the connections necessary for actually making an impact and supporting our own livelihoods in an integrity-based manner. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your follow-up too, because, you know, we actually want to see you succeed in this work because we know that this work makes a difference in your clients' lives and that has a ripple effect out into the world. And we firmly believe through what we've seen that this work has an impact and can be part of the change that we would like to see, excuse the cliche. But because of that, we explore and bring forth the resources that support you in your professional development in that way. Yeah.
And I'll just add to that quickly. Now I've processed what the question was, that you don't have to wait until the end of the course to put this into practice as well. So in the third module, you're required to carry out a case study and you're working with pro bono clients. And so you already are able to choose your area of fascination or how you want to apply this into the real world and start practicing and using the coaching for that reason, and then writing it up as a case study. There's also an opportunity to have that case study published in a journal as well, which is a really exciting opportunity for anyone who is more interested in the academic side of it. As Javon said, it's not necessarily an academic course, so you don't need to be concerned if that's not your expertise, but we do have that as an opportunity as well. So yeah, I just wanted to speak to the fact that you can start applying the work before you even have finished a course.
Yeah, thanks for that, Jules. And I've just dropped into the chat window the link to our journal where we offer the opportunity for your case study reports to be published if you write a good one, but we'll provide you with all the support you need to write a good one and to have your work published.
Jevon, I think we've just about come to time, so I'll wrap up. Any final questions or comments?
Thank you, Nick. There's two hands up, so let's address the two hands in the window here, and then we'll wrap up. Vadi. I really want to pronounce your name correctly. You're muted at the moment, so we don't hear you.
Yeah, maybe once on the course we'll spend some time getting the pronunciation right.
Yes.
It's what, yeah. My question is, like, I was reading about when I was reading about the course, and it says in the end that you as well are entitled to the, I don't know if I'm gonna get the name of the association right, the International Association of Coaches, Mentors, and counselors, or that.
Close.
So sorry, because I'm on my iPad, so I don't have that open. So you get automatically certified by that association as well once you get the certification from Alef Trust?
Once you get your certificate from Alef Trust, you're fully eligible, but not automatically. There is a fee, and their annual fee for accreditation is $130. So a lot less than other international accreditation bodies.
Which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And my last very quick question, I don't want to take much space anymore. What would the title, or how would you present yourself as after this course? So is it TCP practitioner?
Certified transpersonal coach.
Certified transpersonal coach. Okay. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Kat, the last question is yours, or comment, or whatever it is. Kat, if you're speaking, we don't hear you because you're on mute.
Sorry, it's a quick question. Is the certificate graded, or is it just pass-fail?
It's not just pass-fail, but you don't receive a percentage grade. we use broad terms such as pass and fail, but the word fail doesn't really. It's like the word random and the word coincidence. They just don't fit in our vocabulary.
I love it. Brilliant. Thank you.
There you are. Great. So thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being part of this evening's session, or whatever time of the day it is in the world for you, even if you're watching the recording later on. If you have any questions, please reach out to Nick. Nick, any last words from you in terms of how people can make contact and what the next step is?
Okay, I did put my email several times. I will do it once more. Feel free to contact me should you have any questions about the program, your participation, your goals. I'm more than happy to chat with you and connect you with the coaching certificate team. And everyone is pretty prompt, and usually within 24 hours you'll have a response and the opportunity to dialogue. So again, thank you for attending today, this evening, wherever you are. Apologies for the hiccup at the beginning, but I think it turned out to be a really good session. Also keep in mind that Alef Trust does have other programs, and feel free to explore. I see a number of names here where I've already been in contact with you in the last 1, 2, or 3 years that you've come in different ways. We also have other certificates, open learning programs, a number of things that do start in February. But otherwise, we really urge you with the coaching certificate to get your applications in early. We have a big cohort. Somebody had asked us, I forgot what it was this current year, Jevin. How many people started last February?
45 students.
45.
We were at capacity. So we do tend to fill up in early January. So I encourage anybody who's interested to inquire soon.
Definitely. But again, thank you on behalf of everyone here at Alef Trust. You will receive a recording of this session, and then please follow up with us. We're more than happy to speak with you. So thanks again. Good night.
Good night. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for Patricia for being here. Emma, I'm seeing you've just joined the session. I'm sorry, we're just wrapping up. The recording is available. So good night. Goodbye, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care, everyone.